Ladies and gentlemen, in Oraltorio, unlike opera, nothing, as you might have noticed, actually happens. It's really a bit like watching Big Brother Africa at 2:30 in the morning. You see LN16, you think, well, something's going to happen. It never does. And this is the same idea, but set to music. It's and it doesn't deter people from going to see oratorios all over the world in cold and drafty halls, works like The Messiah, and usually performed on original instruments, with often what sounds like the original singers too. And of course sung with all repeats and all da capos. A da capo, ladies and gentlemen, is where just as you think they've reached the end of some long, slow aria, they start again, from the very beginning. And yet, oratorio is unique in that it is the only art form, theatrical art form, where you pay for a ticket, and then when they get to your favorite bit, the Hallelujah chorus, they make you stand. And yet, tonight's work is a rather interesting work. It's a recently discovered secular oratorio, and is the only known example of 17th century sponsorship and advertising. Yes, very interesting. Some musicologists feel that this work, apparently commissioned by a toothpaste company of the day, could be the work of one George Frederick Handel during a particularly bankrupt period. This oraltorio, as it is therefore known, begins with an overture. Now, overtures were written with you, the audience, in mind, in order to give you time to find your seat, to practice your cough for the quiet bits, and of course to unwrap those lovely little cellophane wrappers slowly. Have you ever noticed in old days, excuse me if you're elderly, but you have absolutely no feeling for people around you. You have an idea of, I've gotten this far, so who cares? And when a quiet bit in an oratorio, you're trying to get the lids open and it doesn't work, and they give you the husband, say, darling, can you open this for me? Well, anyway, overtures were written for this reason, and consequently they were boring and repetitive. And this one is no exception. But before we begin, let us give the chorus, the soloist, the orchestra, the stage manager, a warm round of applause. Here we have it then, ladies and gentlemen, the oraltorio, or one fluoride over the cuckoo's nest. It's one of my better ones, isn't it? As a cheap thrill. At this point, the composer, anxious to avoid monotony, comes up with a brilliant alternative. But the not-so-thrilled sponsors feel that more than enough time has been wasted, and the composer at this point decides to end it all. Quickly. Immediately, 3 people in the audience applaud vigorously. They're from our country. Which gives the solo tenor just enough time to get up, spit his throat lozenge in the general direction of the violas, and launch into his first recitative, which explains once and for all the meaning of the word recitative. How recitative, what pain did so torment me? Oh, throbbing night, oh, what impending doom! Yet by what miracle did it leave me? As I enter the waiting And here I must explain something. A tenor with a high note is like an 80-year-old with his libido. Both try to hang on to it as long as possible. The soloists are now joined by a long-suffering, not very bright chorus, a kind of 17th century moron tabernacle choir. This moving chorus is interrupted by the sudden demise of a second tenor. To crown it all, the choir was about to sing that famous dentist chorus, one small prick and it's all over. But instead, with great presence of mind, unusual for a tenor, the tenor jumps in and sings an even more recitative than before. Forsooth, oh woe is me, I'd rather be far removed from to surgery. And yet, deviating from standard convention, the baritone portraying the evil Dr. Tooth jumps the cue and sings.
Don't fret, I promise to take action.
Commercial break in which the soprano subtly encourages one and all to use her brand of toothpaste called Repeat, which she does, often. Now it's the turn of the contralto, kind of a musical foghorn. And she is Mental, the world's meanest, cleanest dental hygienist. Now, Mental hates the soprano as apparently she's a threat to her boss, the evil Dr. Tooth, who it seems extracts patients' good teeth and turns them into expensive designer dentures. On another note, the soprano is having an affair with the conductor, the composer, the manager of the theatre, and with most of the orchestra, it seems. But this is called marketing. And of course has absolutely nothing to do with why she got the role in the first place. The contralto's brief is to convince patients as to why they should have their good teeth extracted, and she does this by the so-called chapter and verse routine. And believe me, there's no verse routine than this. the orchestra tries unsuccessfully to get its teeth into a brief intermezzo, but this grinds to a gnashing halt as the conductor isn't into mezzos but into sopranos. And instead the choir now sings Hail, Hail, which has absolutely nothing to do with the entire story, but is traditionally sung in works of this nature. Soprano returns unexpectedly to plug her product. But due to ESCOM load shedding, we had a slight technical hitch, and this gets cut off in mid-sentence, which catches the conductor unawares. Actually, in his unawares, as he had chosen this moment to, well, go somewhere. Known rather derisively by the sponsors as the mental entity. Without tartar control, of course. In the meantime, Dr. Tooth's evil machinery has also been exposed, and when the police arrive, he and his associates retaliate by holding all the patients hostage, or as the Berger reported in English, strangely enough, Tooth Company sees a crowd. Guess worse. Mental, his loyal dental hygienist breaks under the strain and Tooth crumbles. And as he is led out of the building, he sings his favorite song, this time sung by the tenor and not the baritone, a very typical mix-up in works of this nature. Open wide, open wide, open wide, and I'll look inside. Tooth's happy song can be heard receding into the distance until it is heard no more. The relieved choir sings the final moving chorus. Though the song is gone, the melody lingers on.